Hello everybody, welcome back to another video in which I will share with you my thoughts on some new perfumes by the London-based artist Sarah Baker. She has this amazing perfume line and I love that she collaborates with different independent perfumers. Her first releases were created by very talented Sarah McCartney from 4160 Tuesdays, whose work I enjoy very much. I am addicted to Sarah perfumes. That's why I'm so glad that both Sarahs work together and I really want them to continue working. Also, she collaborated with Ashley Eden Kessler, and she created one of my favorites from Sarah Baker, that is Leopard. By the way, I have already reviewed the first 4 perfumes such as Greek Keys, Leopard, Lace and Tartan in one of my videos. You can definitely check it out for more information about those ones. And after those 4, she collaborated with Miguel MATOS, who is a new perfumer but already very successful. We know that Miguel was or is a journalist. He knows a lot about perfumes and I'm glad that he started creating his own fragrances, and the first person for him he created a perfume was Sarah, and they came out with Jungle Jezebel, which might look a little bit extra and even scary to some people. This scent is also a little bit, well, it is actually a lot. It's not a little bit, it is really extravagant, but it is actually one of the best perfumes I've smelled in my life. It is extraordinary, it is unusual, it is strange, it is beautifully put together, super complex. So, you know, Sarah really pays attention to perfumers with whom she collaborates, because I have a feeling, even though she works with different perfumers and every one of them has their own style, still all perfumes are perfectly in the same style, or they just match each other really well. And when you smell all Sarah Baker perfumes, for example at Exons, I actually helped her out at her booth one day, and we had a lot of people who stepped by and I showed them the fragrances. I am very much familiar with them. I know everything about them. I know a lot about them because, you know, I've already reviewed them. I know the notes. I know people who created them. Some of them I know personally. So it was just interesting to see how people react to some perfumes. There are some fragrances like Greek Keys or Leopard or Atlante, which is a US collaboration with Sarah McCartney, that were like super mass appealing. People loved them, everybody was drawn to them. And then there were a little bit more challenging perfumes like Jungle Jezebel, for example. Some of people loved it, some people are like, oh my god, and some of them were like, whew. But you know, that's just a question of what you're used to and for what you're open. So in today's video, I will present you and share with you my thoughts about 3 brand new perfumes that I haven't really talked about on my channel properly. We did an interview with Sarah and Miguel Matos about the new fragrance that is called Rules of Attraction. Here it is, and if you are interested in it, please check it out. The link is going to be in the description box down below, as well as the link to her official website where you can actually get a sample pack of all her fragrances. But the newest creation of Sarah and Miguel is called Rules of Attraction. I really love this name. Sometimes I even buy perfumes because of the names, but these fragrances were sent to me for a review. Actually, I have never purchased any of Sarah Baker perfumes, which is strange. Like, I would go for Rules of Attraction, Leopard, Lace, but she was really generous to me and I got them for a review, and I'm very glad to share with you my thoughts on them. By the way, if you have already heard about Sarah Baker perfumes and if you have already tried them, let me know what are your favorites. So if you want to see Sarah and Miguel talking about this fragrance, check out the video. And she has new design, which is so cool. Like, I love it to bits. Everybody who saw it fell in love with it, and I just find it looks like sleek and so cool. And this logo, you guys, I'm living for it. It's so happy, but at the same time it has something imaginary to it, and I just love this design. Like, it feels really luxurious in your hand. This cap is amazing. I could go on and on, but I actually enjoyed her previous design very much too, because, you know, those 4 fragrances were kind of inspired by different fabrics, materials, and this is, for example, the leopard that I've already mentioned. And I find this one looks even a little bit vintage and sort of cool too, but designs are very different and both are cool. And Sarah told me that perfumes are available in both designs, so if you prefer some of these, you can just order the one you like more on her official website. And the cool thing is that she started to put names of perfumers on the bottle, so you really see who created the fragrance, and that is a cool little detail that is a big shout out to a perfumer, because in a lot of times perfumers, well, nowadays not so much, but earlier, you don't know who created a fragrance. A lot of people don't really care, but I just find it so cool to make that clear. Anyway, Rules of Attraction is inspired by French lifestyle of kings, queens from Versailles. It is a dirty animalic, truly in Miguel MATOS style. Sometimes we have very similar taste with Miguel when it comes to perfumes, not always, but we prefer those dirty animalics with some flowers in there. And to be honest with you guys, I've been looking for a solid vintage smelling modern perfume with lots of aldehydes. Last year I've been desperately looking for it, and I couldn't find the one that would really satisfy me. And this year they came out with this perfume with a punch of clean, really sultry, truly vintage smelling aldehydes. There is cumin in there. In the heart we have a beautiful bouquet of white flowers of different kinds, such as jasmine and tuberose, neroli, gardenia, and a bit of iris. And in the base, all delicious animalic notes such as teasing civet. I love how skanky civet is in here. It is not as skanky as it could be, but I'm fine with that. And I just have a feeling there is a very smooth animalic accord in there. It has sort of a dirty powderiness to it, which I'm living for. This perfume is so long-lasting. Like, let's just talk about the performance of Sarah Baker Parfums. All of them are extracts de parfum, if I'm not wrong, but they are intensely concentrated. And last night I went out to disco, and I've never been to a proper disco in Germany, and I've been living here for 9 years. So it was my proper disco, and I was wearing a see-through top, and I sprayed it on my, how do you call it, bra? I know that's might be a little bit too much of information, but my mom was like, do you smell so good? And like, I could smell this perfume all night long. That was just one spritz on my underwear. Do you scent your underwear? I don't know. I just thought it's very appropriate. Rules of Attraction. I wanted to smell attractive, and I did all night long. So yeah, I enjoy this perfume very much. Unisex, created for lovers of dirty floral animalics with that aldehyde vintage touch. But let's move on to another brand new perfume that is called Sherrod, and the nose behind this one is Andreas Wilhelm from Perfumes Suck, and I know him personally. He's a funny guy, and I remember Sarah showed me this perfume in the early stage, and it was just pure tuberose, so I was super blown away by the end result because it didn't smell like what I remembered it. So this fragrance is inspired by Charade, one of my most favorite movies ever. I've seen it a lot of times with Audrey Hepburn. I love her to bits. She's fantastic. She's elegant. She had this angelic character, and honestly, I am addicted to her. Every time I see her on screen or a picture of her, I am just like, I'm done. She is the best. And that movie, if you've never seen it, definitely go watch it after this preview. You know, she played with Cary Grant, and his very like mature gentleman style. So this perfume is sort of unisex, but it is really inspired by those vintage, old-fashioned, really iconic scents from the past. It is also sort of a dirty, powdery fragrance, but this time it is really heavy on the leather, and I associate it with my boyfriend because that night we went out, I was wearing Rolls of Attraction and I sprayed Sherrod 3 times on him. That was the major mistake because I could smell it the next morning on him. And my boyfriend has really hot skin, so every fragrance really projects intensely on him. And oh gosh, we were dancing and only thing I could smell was Charade. It is extreme. It has beautiful sweetness. It smells classic, sophisticated, but it is intense, you guys. And I need to tell you that if you want perfume that will be like, wow, you're like really, wow, you need to check out Charade. It is actually such wow perfume. It is mature, it is not for younger audience, it is definitely for people like 30 plus. I could wear it myself, like I have no problems with wearing a little bit old-fashioned classy perfumes, but it is still modern. It has that ylang and really dirty tuberose going on in there. It has some sweetness from honey, it has lots of leather, lots of oak moss, so I just don't know. This is a real solid release. It is better for winter, it is better for colder days. Oh my god, I could really rave about it. It was such a discovery for me, especially after smelling it on my boyfriend that night. Woo! I love it. It's just, it makes me feel something, you know? It's like Audrey Hepburn and Cary Grant. When you look at them, they're just like, I want to be like them. So yeah, I'm very attracted to Charade, and once again I associate it with my boyfriend. I hope you don't mind that this video is kind of chatty, but I just wanted to really take my time and talk you through these perfumes and what I feel about them. And the next one is Atlante or Atlante that Sarah created with Sarah McCartney, and this is a special perfume. I remember they worked really hard on it. Sarah asked me what I think about them. Different versions of Atlante was created. She sent me samples. We really chatted about it because this perfume has special inspiration. It was inspired by the ocean, by the sea actually, and by the seashell especially. So this is an aquatic perfume. It is a true aquatic fragrance. I remember it was way darker than it is right now. I believe it is a little bit reformulated, or maybe that is just a new batch of it. I'm not quite sure, but it is sort of a sexual aquatic, and I've always had a bit of a problem with aquatic perfumes because they were just too cold for me, and just like too metallic, and I don't really like metallic quality of fragrances. It should be done really well for me to enjoy it, and who else could do it better than Sarah McCartney? So this perfume is really fresh. It is not too dark, even though it has seaweed, it has seashell accord, it has some beautiful woody notes like driftwood, and I enjoy this fragrance on my boyfriend once again. I find that this is the most masculine smelling perfume from Sarah Baker, even though it is unisex, and I remember at Texons a lot of women enjoyed it, but you know, this perfume has nothing feminine about it. It has nothing sweet, floral to it. It is all about ocean freshness, and if you are digging scents like that and you miss that purity, that realistic ocean-like seaside smell that is not sweet, that is not overly clean. It is not a clean perfume. It still has just a touch of dirtiness in there. There is orris root in there, mineral notes, but it is not metallic, and it is actually a little bit salty, but nothing that would make you go like, oh, I need some water. It is quite watery indeed, and it is really appropriate for warmer days just because it is so fresh. It is definitely more of a formal type of a fragrance. That's why you could even wear it to work and you would be very attractive smelling, because when my boyfriend wears it, I really want to be around him. And finally, I want to mention Tartan, which is not a new fragrance because it was amongst those first 4 perfumes that Sarah Baker came out with, but Tartan was reformulated, and I really prefer this version of it because it is way more cozy, it is way more delicious, It smells like real cedar wood. It is created by my favorite Sarah McCartney. I just enjoy everything from her. I really want Sarah Baker create a very gourmand, but like gourmand in Baker style perfume with Sarah McCartney. Please, Sarah's, do that for me and other people next year. But Tartan smells like you are having a beautiful afternoon somewhere in Scottish mountains. It smells of wood, it smells of bread that you might be eating like a snack. There is this bread hops accord which Sarah is famous for, and I really enjoyed in there, but it is not a typical gourmand. Yes, it is cozy, it is warm, but it is woody, you know, it doesn't have that signature Sarah McCartney sweetness to it, and I find it is very atmospheric. It is super appropriate for colder weather. It is great on men and women, and I saw that a lot of people were just like really charmed by it at X songs as I showed it to them. So the new version of Tartan is something that is worth checking out, and I enjoyed very much. It's sort of sparkling, but at the same time it has a lot of depth, but there is something modern about it that still keeps it on the bright side of life. And that completes this video, and if I needed to recommend you my favorites from Sarah Baker, I would say go for a discovery kit, because every single fragrance is a journey. It tells you a story, and they all are very special. There is no fragrance that you would be like, I don't care. Everyone is so cool, and these 3 new ones are amazing. I'm very blown away by them, and I recommend you guys to check them out because those are solid releases, and Sarah Baker does a really great job because she collaborates with different people, and there are exciting things coming really soon from her, so definitely check her out on social media. She's very active there. Follow her on Instagram, check out her official website, it looks really cool, and that's basically all I wanted to tell you. If you have anything else to mention, please leave me a comment below. I'm looking forward to hear your feedback, and stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other next one really soon. Bye guys!